Good morning, friends. It's Miss Brienne from the Pickerington Public Library Youth Services Department. Hello, good morning. And this is my trusty helper, Violet. She's going to help us with our art project today. And today we're going to be working on a special animal collage. Let me show you our list of supplies. This was a fun one, wasn't it? All right, so an animal collage, and we have some examples here behind us. Yeah, these are the ones that we made. We'll go through those here in just a little bit. But I want to talk to you quickly about the supplies we'll need first. So these are simply paper, glue, scissors, and some drawing utensils, all things you should already have at home. And we'll talk about these a little more in depth later on in the presentation. And here's just a quick picture of the things that we collected at our house. But again, you're going to use what you have at your house. So we'll just talk quickly about those elements of art again. We talked about these in our last video. These are basically the things that make up an artwork. So every artwork has at least one of these things in it, if not several of these. These were color, value, line, texture, shape, form, and space. And you can see we've got highlighted here shape. So shape is what we're going to be working with a lot today for our collages. So shape is, this is the fancy definition, an element of art referring to the two-dimensional area set off by one or more of the other elements. So you can create a shape using a line or colors to separate different shapes from each other. So what basic shapes do we have here, Violet? What are these?
A square, a triangle, and a circle.
Yeah, a square, triangle, and circle. You should be familiar with these shapes. And pretty much everything we did was some variation of these shapes. Violet, you'll see in one of her projects, used a lot of triangles. But you'll still use squares or rectangles and circles. Maybe they'll have softer edges or jagged edges, but we'll still use these same basic shapes. So collage is simply a technique where you join together different materials to make a new image. We did a flat collage, so we just use paper for our collage, but there are artists out there that use actual, like thick pieces or buttons or fabric or other things that might stick off the picture page, but we were just going to stick with simple paper for these collages. And this actually comes from our French words meaning glue or stick together, so that's a pretty good translation there for what collage is. So let me show you a famous art example here. This is Matisse, and this was his Polynesia, the Sky, and it was a collage he made in 1947. Matisse is a pretty famous artist. He has done all kinds of art. He was a famous painter and sculptor first. But later on in life, he had some health issues where he became chair-ridden and he wasn't able to do as much physically. So he learned to start cutting out shapes and making different collages. So this is what he did toward the later part of his life when he wasn't as mobile and couldn't paint and sculpt like he used to. And here you see he's done a bunch of different birds in the sky. You see vines and trees. What do you see?
I see stars.
Stars.
Kind of like pine cone shapes or leaves.
There's a lot of nature shapes in this.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like nature.
Look at the outside.
Yes.
It kind of looks like the ocean or something.
Ooh. Well, this one it is called the sky. So maybe that's what he sees when he looks in the sky. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at another famous artist. You've probably heard of Pablo Picasso. He's dabbled in just about every kind of art there is, but this is one of his collages. It's called Guitar, Sheet Music, in a Wine Glass. And you can kind of see the overall shape of the guitar. You see that brown, looks like wood grain there. That's kind of the shape of the guitar. This is the neck of the guitar, the blue part. You see the white spot in the center. That circle, that's supposed to be like the center part of the guitar. And he's also pasted in some sheet music. He drew a picture of a glass and pasted that on there as well. So he just used materials that he had available to him and kind of put them together on another piece of paper or board and created these shapes to make this artwork. So our lesson's pretty simple today. It really wasn't too hard. You just use what you can find around your house. So what we found were some old rolls of wrapping paper. That's what you see there on the left-hand side. We collected some cardboard boxes. We've got some food. That was from applesauce, I think. Yeah, some food packaging. We used some yogurt container cardboard. We found some colored construction paper that we added as well, some white paper, and then we used some pencils and Sharpies to kind of add some details at the end of our projects. And then of course you'll need scissors, hopefully safety scissors if you got little ones, and different kinds of glue. We had a glue stick and some regular school glue, and we used both of those depending on what we were gluing. So the first thing we thought would be helpful would be to sketch some different animals that we would like to see. And I was first motivated by a picture of a shark that I found. So you could search the internet or in books at your house for pictures of animals, and that might get you started on what kinds of animals you want to draw. So we started with the shark, and then, well, we have cats at our house, so we thought we would sketch a cat. We sketched a couple dogs, and we sketched a bird. So these are just rough sketches of animals that we thought would be fun to make. You can make the whole body of the animal. We mostly just did it like a portrait where it's pretty much just the head and maybe part of the shoulders.
Yes. We also have a puppy, right? We have a puppy.
We do have a puppy. Yeah, that's why we sketched the dogs, because we have a puppy. We have 4 cats and a puppy. Yeah. so we picked the animals we were most familiar with. We're not super familiar with sharks. We don't have any pet sharks, do we?
Or birds.
Or do you have a pet shark in your room I don't know about?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. And birds, we watch the birds all the time from our window though, yeah. So these are just animals that we were interested in making. You can make any animals you want. I've got dinosaurs on my sweater today. That might have been a fun one to do too. What do you have on your shirt? You have an owl. That might have been a good project as well, yeah. So you can make any animal you want. All right, so I decided to start with the shark first. I really wished I would have had newspaper, but we'd already taken the recycling out, so we didn't have a lot to choose from. So I just found some old papers we weren't using anymore, and I cut them up because I wanted it to look kind of gray. I wanted it to look kind of gray like a shark, so I thought, ooh, black and white, that's kind of gray. Like I said, I would have preferred newspaper, but this is what I had, so this is what I used. So I cut it into strips, and then I had to think about the shape of the shark's head. So I was like, how am I going to arrange this so we can make the shape of that shark's head? So on the left here, that was me just kind of arranging for how I was going to get this shape going. I didn't glue it down or anything yet. This is just me arranging paper onto the blue piece of paper. And this is what you should do as well. When you are making your collage, don't glue anything down until you are sure. You can arrange and rearrange as many times as you want till you get your picture just right. Once I did find a shape that I liked, I did glue those pieces together. I didn't glue them to the blue paper yet, but I glued the pieces together so they were all kind of stuck together. And then I cut, as you can see in the third picture, my shark shape. Kind of like kind of looks like a surfboard shape at the tip, doesn't it? So I did cut that shape the way I wanted it, and then I did glue it down to the piece of blue paper. Next, I just cut a piece of black paper to show the inside of his mouth. And then I cut some triangles. So again, we've been talking about shapes. I cut a bunch of different triangles. I found an arrangement that I liked. I moved the teeth around. I tried different size teeth until I found exactly what I wanted. And then once I got them in the shape that I wanted, I glued them down. So there he is there. I also cut out some black kind of half circles for the eyeballs. Again, I haven't glued all this completely down yet. And then I cut some waves, and I thought, oh, water would be cool if it was like green and blue. So we found some old cardboard from some yogurt tubes that we had eaten. So I cut some wavy shapes, and then I tried arranging them. You can see here, I tried to arrange them in front of the shark so like the waves were in front of him. I glued them where I wanted. And then the last thing you'll see in the next picture is I'm going to trim these pieces off. You can always, you know, trim the stuff that hangs off the edges of your paper. So you can see on the left and the right here, some of that cardboard's hanging off the blue paper. So I'm just going to go over the edges there and trim that off. And there's my finished shark. I did add some, those are actually strawberries for the red eyes. I kind of made them look kind of creepy with those red eyes, yeah? It's not too creepy?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So yeah, those eyes, if you look, they're actually little strawberries that we cut out from one of the packages. And that's my finished shark. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so Violet liked the picture of the cat. And again, we've got plenty of cats at our house. We know what they look like, so this is what we did.
I had an owl shirt yesterday too.
You wore an owl shirt 2 days in a row. You must like your animals, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Violet sketched out a basic cat head and then a basic body. So she sketched that out on paper first. You can see her scissors laying there on the table. She had cut out the head shape she liked. Then she cut out a piece of paper for the body. And these don't have to be perfect shapes. They're kind of rough on the edges, and I like that. I think it makes them look a little more real. So this is the picture she was working off of, and that's what she was referencing as she was cutting her shapes. And what shape did you cut a bunch of for this one?
Orange triangle.
Orange triangles, yeah. We wanted to put some stripes on the cat, but we kind of liked how they look kind of pointy. So Violet just cut a bunch of different triangles, and then she just arranged them on the page, you know, the way that she thought they would look good. So this gave us a chance to move things around and decide what looked right. We realized some of the triangles were too big, but I said, well, why don't we just, you know, use the parts that we want? We can trim off the extra. So that's what we did by the third picture here. We had glued on the parts that we wanted on the cat shape, and then we just trimmed off the extra on the edges so that we could keep our head shape and our body shape. And then this was her finished work. So she added a red collar. Do you remember what you named this cat?
Name is Baby.
Baby. She gave him a little collar with his name, Baby. She added, what shape did you add for the eyeballs?
The eyeballs,
triangles, green triangles, and then she colored some black into the eyes. She added a pink nose and a little mouth. She added some whiskers, and she even colored in the ears to make it kind of look like it has fuzzy ears there as well. So that's Violet's cat. Looks a lot like our cats too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We don't have a cat named Baby, but it looks like our cats. All right, the next one I wanted to do was I wanted to try this dog, and I wanted to use something with a little more texture. So I looked at the papers that I had, and it was like, geez, I've got a lot of brown. So maybe I'll try to make a brown dog. So I used different kinds of brown. So I used some wrapping paper, some packaging paper. That's just that plain brown roll. I cut up a cardboard box, another fruit cup container down there, and then some black paper. That's what I used for this fella. So I cut those jagged edges out of the cardboard. I cut out a jagged head shape out of that wrapping paper. I added that black collar, and then you'll see I added kind of like the bridge of the nose. You know how dogs have this long nose that goes from their eyes down to their nose? That's why I chose that shape to add there. Then I put on a nose, a mouth. I cut out some ears, colored the shapes a little bit there. Those are kind of like rounded triangles. I added some eyes, and I thought he would be funny if he had like some furry eyebrows. Kind of looks like a schnauzer or something. So this is my brown dog. Next up was the bird. We both made a bird. We like this one, so we both made a bird. And I looked around at our cardboard again, and we had lots of different blue things. So I used an old tissue box. There's that yogurt tube box again. And we had some blue construction paper. So this is what we used to make our bird. So we came up with an overall bird shape. And then Violet liked this shape too. So we ended up tracing this shape and cutting her a bird shape as well. She just used a different color paper. You'll see that in a minute. Scooch over just a minute. She used dark blue for hers, and I used the cardboard for mine. So I had cut out my bird body shape. Then I cut out some tail feathers, a wing, and then a head shape. And here you can see I've arranged it on the paper, again, moving around till I got it just right. And I got the bird shape that I wanted. I also thought it would be cool to, I wanted to put my bird on a branch. And when you're making collage, you don't have to use scissors to cut your paper. You can actually just tear the paper, which is actually that was kind of fun to just tear up the paper. So I used some of that wrapping paper again, and I kind of tore the shape that I wanted. I thought that would be cool for the tree branch because, you know, tree branches aren't exactly straight lines. So I thought I would tear the paper and see what kind of shapes I could get for that. And this is my finished product. So I glued my bird down. I added a little beak. I added some legs and feet. So it looks like the bird is perched on that branch. And then I found, this is a kind of cool thing to do too with collage. I found a word that I liked that I thought this would go good with this picture. I found an old advertisement in a magazine that said spring. And I was like, what if that bird is shouting spring, spring, spring? So we made that one. Yeah. And then this is the one that Violet made. So she used kind of the same rough shapes, but she made hers a little bit different. She turned her wing a different way. She gave her bird kind of a crown on top. I like a little crown. And she's got a cool tail feather on hers as well. So these are our 5 finished products. We can see them here on the wall behind us as well. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys will give these a try. These are, again, are just the animals that we chose, but we thought that maybe you would like to come up with some different animals that you could do at your house too.
Like a bunny.
A bunny would be good this time
of
year. An owl.
Or
anything else?
A squirrel.
A squirrel. Oh, we did see an example of a squirrel. That was pretty cool too. A squirrel would be fun too.
Or we could try a baby rabbit.
A baby, a little bunny. That would be sweet. That would be a sweet one to do. All right, well, let me talk to you a little bit about the supplies you could use. For the paper, like I said, I wish we had newspaper. I think that would have been cool for some of ours. We use white paper, brown paper, construction paper, wrapping paper, cardboard boxes, food packaging boxes, just whatever you have. And that kind of actually helped us decide what to make because we were limited to those colors. So that kind of helped us with the designs that we made. Glue, you can use a glue stick, liquid glue. If you don't have any glue at home, I used to do this when I was little. If I didn't have glue, just mix a little bit of flour and water and it kind of makes a paste. And you can use that as glue too. I don't think I've ever showed you that trick. We'll try that sometime if we run out of glue. Scissors. Safety scissors, obviously for the little ones, but you may need some stronger scissors if you need to cut something like the cardboard, and I suggest the adults do that. It's a little bit harder to cut. And then some drawing utensils. We use some pencils for sketching our pictures, and then we also use some black markers just to add a little bit of details to our images. So here's some things that you can try at your house. Decide on an animal that you want to make. And maybe look around in some books or maybe on the internet for some pictures of your animal just so you can get those shapes down right. Choose a base. How are you going to attach it? We just attached ours to paper, but if you have any old poster board, an old piece of wood maybe, you could attach these to something like that. You can tear or cut your shapes into the different shapes that you want. So you can tear it to make a circle or you could cut it to make a circle, however you want. Make sure you arrange your design before you commit to gluing it down. So that means, move the pieces around. What would this look like if it was over here? What if I move this down here? What if I took this piece out? It gives you lots of choices and lots of options. Once you are happy with your design, you can glue it down. And then you can add some small details at the end to do like maybe a little eyeball or, some nose holes. Our bird feet, we did those. If you've got little ones at your house and if this is too much for them to do, maybe the adults could cut some different shapes, sizes for the kids, and just let the kiddos organize them how they want. Let them play around with the shapes and move them around and say, oh, I made a snowman, or oh, I made a kitty cat. Or Olaf. You make Olaf. You could help them glue it down. Also let them tear paper. Little kiddos like to tear paper. That's just a very interesting feeling. Fine motor skills. That'd be a good one to do as well. And then of course, show us your work. We would love to see what you guys make at your house. We made these animals here, but maybe you're gonna make some different cool animals that we didn't even think of. So that would be cool if you could show us your work if you make some too. So if you're watching this on Facebook and can leave a picture in the comments of what you made, that would be cool. You can tag us using the hashtag #PPL@home, and that would show us what you've made at your house too. So
even your imagination animal.
Like a made-up animal?
Mm-hmm.
That would be perfect for our summer reading theme, which is imagine your story. What could you do?
I could do a unicorn or a dinosaur.
A unicorn? Well, dinosaurs are real.
Yeah.
But you do a unicorn or a dragon?
I want a
Like
dragon.
made-up animals? Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. All right, well, we thank you for watching today. We hope you make a cool animal collage at your house, and we will see you again next time. Wyatt will probably be back to help me again, and thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.